Yo, you know what a bad idea is?
Hmm.
To sit down to record when you're hella hungry.
Yeah? That is a very bad idea. Are you hungry right now?
I am starving right now.
What if we started eating on the pod? Like,
I was just thinking, would it
like,
be
why
bad
can I not
if
have
I
a
had...
bag of chips right here and just eat while I'm talking?
That'd be so annoing.
Very ASMR.
To. Yeah.
Just like hear the chip
I was thinking
just
about...
crack in the mic. Just...
Yeah. I feel like, because there's like this phobia of people, like that people have of hearing people like chew or
yeah.
like...
I feel like you would have that.
No. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But I did to calm my hunger. I did eat a few spoonfuls of cottage cheese.
Ew. Why? Oh, the protein ones?
I mean, they all have protein.
Oh, okay.
It's like eating yogurt, It's just or
Was
like
it good?
chicken.
I feel like it would be very satisfying.
It's actually very good. Cottage cheese is having a moment right now on the internet. There's a lot of like those cooking videos that pop up on my feed. I see a lot of people are using cottage cheese to like make ice cream.
This is something Ali just started recently doing.
What?
She makes eggs.
Yeah.
Or like an omelet or
Scrambled
like a
eggs.
scrambled eggs with cottage cheese in it. And
Yeah.
I think it's the weirdest combo
But it's good.
ever. It's good,
You've
but it's...
tried it though.
No, I've tried it. It's pretty good. But as I'm eating it, I'm like, this is not supposed to go together.
But why not? It's just cheese. It's like putting...
Cheese and eggs. Think about it. Cheese and eggs together.
Yeah, don't you put like a ham and cheese and egg sandwich or something?
It's different than cottage cheese, babe.
I mean, it is different, but honestly, it
You
ends
act
up like the cottage cheese little like kernels or
Mm-hmm.
kernels or whatever they're called. They like end up melting like regular kind of cheese, and then it becomes like a cheesy egg situation.
Yeah. I don't like to think about it. I like to just eat it. But the moment, as I'm eating it, when I think about it, it makes it kind of like...
Nasty?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
A little bit.
more for me. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
been doing that, try to up that protein level. I don't get enough protein in my diet.
Yeah, same. Guys, I gotta be honest. I haven't been like on my workout
Yeah,
plan
me
ever since
neither.
the New York. You've been going in the mornings.
Oh, the last like 2 weeks, yeah. But so I was gonna say,
Oh, that's pretty good. Last 2 weeks, you act like it's just nothing. That's good. Good job.
yeah, no, that's good.
You have to. You know one thing about you. You have to know when you're doing a good job. You have to pat yourself on the back just a little bit.
You're right.
Because you'd say, "Oh, I've been working out for 2 months," but that's nothing.
I just feel like I wish I would have worked out the whole time we've been here.
I wish I would have worked out my whole life.
Right. But welcome back, everybody, to the What's the Juice pod. I am one of your hosts, Ali Zaitza.
And I'm your favorite host, Yoni Koto. I'm back at it again with another episode of the juice.
Yeah, the juice. What are we juicing today? What topic?
Today we're talking about grown-ups acting like they're just the best, okay? We're
talking about something that I always say, and I feel like you just didn't get my point.
I always got it. I just always wanted to go against what you were saying. But I totally agree with you. No, sometimes you just need to add a little spice to the relationship. It's fine.
Oh my God.
We all got that uncle or auntie or aunt.
Or a family member that's older than you.
That's older than you. And they think just because they're older, they're smarter, they're wiser. You're supposed to always listen to them
and agree that they're right.
One thing I will say though, respect is one thing. Respect your elders. That's something I've always done.
Right.
Maybe to a fault sometimes, because someone that's older than me can be like maybe borderline disrespectful. I never raised my voice as someone that's older than me. I never cursed at anyone. That's
you were
just,
raised right.
Yeah, I've never done that. And but
I've done that a few times.
we'll get into that.
Basically, I have this thing that sometimes
Why do you say basically? Like, why can't you can just continue? Because when you say basically, it's almost like you're erasing everything I'm saying and you're saying it like in a different way.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not at all how I mean it. Communication right there. I will do better next time.
It's like imagine this, right? You say a whole thing for like 5 minutes and then I go, basically what Ali's trying to say is that it's like, what?
No, okay. What I wanted to just go back as to the thing that we not we like disagreed on, and it's kind of what ignited this topic, is how sometimes certain things happen in life and conversations and interactions with my parents or with just people that are older. And we're not talking like friends that are maybe like 4 or 5, or my sister who's 6 years older than me. I'm not talking
No, we're
about,
talking like 20 years.
We're talking, yeah, like when you were a kid, they were an adult already. It's not that like we were all kids and then now we're adults, you know? And basically what happens is I have this realization after certain interactions that we're all just children.
I think children is like the wrong word.
I wish that there was another way that I could explain this, but basically I'm thinking that I've realized that the only difference, and not only, and I don't want to minimize it, but I have to get my point across. I just feel like we're just out here, we're just children or kids or out here with responsibilities. But at the end of the day, we're all just like, nobody's really a grown up. Because we be doing childish shit out here.
What is a grown up?
What is a grown up? I think a grown up is I'm not going to keep saying they're a child.
A child with responsibilities.
No, I just feel like what makes someone a grown up is once you have responsibilities, meaning you have to go to a job every day, you have to pay rent or pay a mortgage, and you have a credit card, and you have financial responsibilities, and you have to pay for your living, and you might own a car or something like that. And you have like your own life, you know?
That's a grown up for you right there.
Yeah. And another thing that makes someone a grown up is technically that they should be wiser than when they were a kid.
Should be
wiser. And technically they have life experience simply because they've lived. So they've experienced things that happen at different stages in your life.
For a longer period of time, because obviously you have more life on this earth.
Yeah, but it's also like, you know, certain phases in your life you deal with different things. Like when you're in high school, you deal with different things. When you're in college,
but that's not always the case, right? That's not always the case. Just because you're older doesn't mean that you have more life experience.
No,
because now we're talking about time. Someone that's 20 years old.
But isn't life experience time?
What?
Isn't when somebody says they have more life experience, that inevitably means they've had just experienced a lot more life. Like in terms of time.
Okay.
That's it.
But that doesn't mean it's more life experience.
I mean, they've experienced more life than you have. Like they've gone through more of it than you have, right?
Yes, but
like from just a logistical standpoint.
Okay, right.
Okay.
I agree with you. But listen to this, right? Someone that's 40 years old.
Yeah.
And someone that's 20 years old, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe 21 or 25. Let's do 25.
Okay.
After high school, from 18 to 25, they decided to travel the world, and they had the means to do it. They had the money to do it. They traveled. They went to India. They went to Australia.
So they traveled for 5 years.
Yes. All over the world. That would be 7 years, right? From 18 to 25.
Oh.
Okay.
I was thinking 20 to 25.
Okay.
Okay.
And a person that's 40 lived in Seattle, worked at Microsoft their whole life, and that's all they do. They go home, they have kids, beautiful family, happy life. Who has more life experience?
I think it's different kind.
The person who traveled the world and seen different cultures, the person who's been in so many different places, I think for me,
that equates to life experience.
That I would want to hear more from that person than the 40-year-old that's just older.
Okay, but here's where I'm going to argue with you right here.
Okay.
Because let's say that now this 25-year-old traveled the world, all that, right? For 7 years. Their life experience is that they, you know, saw different cultures, experienced different cultures, met a bunch of people, all that.
Learn about themselves.
But they didn't have a steady job. Like there's other details that I would like to know about this 25-year-old. It's like, how do they have the money to travel? How did they make that money? Were they struggling the whole time?
They just have a rich parents.
Okay.
Honestly, now that
So I'm trying to say that the 40-year-old that hasn't experienced the world, let's say they've never left from their home country, they've lived in the same city and area, neighborhood, whatever, their whole life, and they've worked at Microsoft,
They never
or like
left
let's
their
say
city.
not Microsoft, let's say something else. Because if you work at Microsoft, you usually have enough money to travel. You know, let's say like they've worked at
You know, it's funny. Before you finish your
something
point,
like that doesn't make you as much money. I don't know.
before you finish your point, I already kind of want to take back what I said.
I knew you would. Basically, I do think that also our idea of what life experience means can differ. And I think everybody also thinks that somebody might have more life experience because they went through this, and someone can disagree with them. You know, like I would say the way that I've gone through a bunch of things in my life, from like moving as a kid, going into a new country, learning a new language as a kid, you know, growing up where I grew up, dealing with the kind of things I dealt there, and then like moving to Seattle, and then from Seattle I left and I went to Toronto, and I was there by myself without my parents. Like that's a lot of specific life experience and a lot of specific things I gained, right? Mm-hmm. And similar with you, you did all that. You moved around. You learned hella languages. You met a lot of people. You had a lot of culture shock situations. You had to adapt. That's specific life experience. Mm-hmm. Somebody else might have had a whole other story, specific life experience, you know? And then there's another person that didn't experience any of that. They lived in the same place, went to the school that their sister and brother went to, never left home.
But they're older.
Okay, but they're older.
So who has more life experience? Are you kidding me? It's
I would say we do.
Yeah, we do. The age thing is very confusing.
I do get your point, though. Because we
But
automatically equate older with life experience.
Exactly. Just because you're just older and lived here longer. But I will say, though, about the 40-year-old, right? And this is just an example. You know, when you're 40, you're still young. And maybe you have kids already. So you experienced having kids. What is that like? We don't know that. You can travel the world and never know what it's like.
Right. Which is an added responsibility.
Exactly. Working somewhere, taking care of a whole other like human being, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So I guess this argument is kind of like tricky because you have different kinds of life experiences.
Yeah. But in the context of what we're trying to talk about today is just how we always kind of just say that the older you are, the more life experience you have, and that's not always the case. But we sometimes forget that, and when we are no longer kids and we are older, but we still obviously have those older people, such as, you know, your grandparents, your aunt, uncle, all that.
Yeah.
There's still this assumption and this kind of like people can't get away from the fact that like now we're also grown. I'm no longer a kid.
Yeah.
I have the life experience that I actually might be a little bit more mature in certain ways than you are, even if you're 50.
Yeah, exactly.
And I would say too, that something I've realized is the older generation, such as like everyone before millennials, I would say like, you know, Gen X, Boomer, whatever is like millennials and Gen Zs are a lot more emotionally intelligent and emotionally aware, and much more open to talking about their emotions, which I think is an amazing thing.
It is an amazing thing.
But then when and I think that's a big reason why, like now, when I'm I'm 24, I interact with like my parents or my grandparents or people that were always like older than me and more wise and had more life experience.
And still older than you, by the way.
Yeah. But I'm realizing how like their emotional intelligence is a very low. Like they don't have that thing where they can talk about their feelings, where they can talk about things that are like deep with us because we're still the kids.
Yeah.
But we're not.
Yeah. No,
I'm a full grown adult.
It's very true. And just growing up, you always just think,
It's none of my business.
Yeah, it's none of my business. Or you just think, you know, as a kid, nobody has to tell you anything. You know, like your parents or your uncles, grandma, like if they don't tell you, you feel like even sometimes like asking certain questions, it's like, oh, this is like a grown-up question.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I kind of hate that. I don't want to do that with my kids.
No,
I want to actually maybe give them some context of like why maybe I wouldn't tell them that information.
Yeah, exactly. But I just want them to also feel like, make them comfortable enough to want to tell me anything that they're going through.
Right.
You know? But the whole also just like respecting your elder, I feel like everyone should do that.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't just be out here just because you think you're emotionally like more intelligent than them.
I mean,
it doesn't mean that you should just be like being disrespectful.
No, but that's not even what I mean at all.
I know that's not
I just
what
think just to give you an example, right? So it was a few summers ago that I went to back to Romania, and I was visiting my family in Romania. And I think it was the one time when we went, and it was the whole family. The first time since we moved to the U.S., it was the first time since we moved to the U.S. that the whole family went back to Romania.
How many years ago was that? 3, right?
That was 3 years ago, but I hadn't been to Romania in 8 years. So I hadn't been there in 8 years, and this was the first time going back since then.
Yeah.
So it had been a long time. In 8 years, especially when you're younger, you just like change a lot. Yeah. You know, from when you're in high school to like 30, I feel like you just go through a lot of different changes.
Yeah.
And you really form into yourself. So when I visited, I had a lot of realizations because now I was an adult. Now I had adult, grown-up life experience lenses on, and I was looking at all these people that were also grown-ups, but I was noticing things about them that I hadn't before because I was understanding certain things better, such as emotional intelligence, seeing the way grown-ups were reacting to certain things, communicating or not communicating in a specific way, where I was like, damn, that's childish as fuck.
Like, I can't talk about this? Seriously?
Yeah, or like, that's how you're going to react?
Yeah.
Or like, that bothers you? Like, different, and I can't even, there's not a, it doesn't have to be, I don't have to give you specific examples, but I feel like if you're listening to this, you've definitely maybe like seen this before in a grown-up, and you're like,
yeah,
damn, we're all just kids out here. Like, that's what I mean. It's like, we're still...
Just because you're older doesn't mean that you know how to
do everything
deal
perfectly.
with all... Yeah, exactly. But growing up, I just remember thinking, like, when I get to that age, I'm going to know exactly how to... I'm going to always have the right answers.
Right.
I'm going to always
But we were also
know things.
And we were told to, like, listen. And as a kid, I get it. You're a kid. Obviously, I didn't know shit. And I was still figuring out shit. But I think we do grow up with this, like, kind of misconception that really grown-ups know everything, have everything under their control. Like, they just...
They're always right about things.
They're always right. Exactly.
It's so not true. The older I get, I'm like, wait, you think this is what you think about this situation? Or like...
Right.
It's so funny to realize being older now, and then you look at, you know...
Like, shit that your parents have been doing. Or, like... Or something about them that you're like... Damn. And then and I've had conversations before where I straight up was like talking about, I was like, so why are you like this? You know, like, why is it that it was like a conversation that maybe some people, because we're also taught to not question.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah. But now, and like my relationship, the way I grew up, it's like, there's certain things that I'm not afraid to address. If I see, for example, like, that my grandpa reacted in a certain way or whatever, it takes a certain level of courage to address something. But at one point I might ask him, I'd be like, you know, like, how come you reacted like this? Or how come this bothered you so much? Yeah. And I've done that. That whole trip to me, yeah, especially that trip, but every trip since then, I've just realized, like, just because you're grown, just because you have life experience, just because you have responsibilities, not to discredit anything that anyone's been through, but the same way that I'm still figuring it out, at 60 and 70, you're still figuring shit out. Yeah. Truly. And you still have hella flaws. The same way that it's hard for me to say sorry. It's hard for me to say that I was wrong, you know, different things like that. I'm working on it now, but there's grown ass people
who still
do it and will not deal with it either.
Yeah.
Like if you call it out, they'll get more mad or whatever. And
that's really like childish behavior.
Yeah.
It's like you're supposed to, with all this life experience, you would think that someone would just be calm and know, but not everyone is the same. So it's like,
and not everybody's perfect.
But those are just simple, basic life things. I feel like it's not hard.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's harder the older you get, the more set you are in your ways, Because I've realized you can't try to change anyone.
No. Once someone reaches like a certain age, there's no more change.
Yeah. I mean, I've noticed this with like, some things that my parents say or believe or do. And I try to explain certain things to them and like really break it down in a way that is not argumentative or coming at them or anything. And and by the way that they reply, I see how they're just like their brain is so set up in the way that they've grown up to this point that they just can't undo certain things, or you can't try to unlearn or learn something new that goes against something that you've been.
But I think it's also, it might be some pride involved in that also, because it's like, okay, I'm 40 and 50,
60, 70,
and then
you're a 20-year-old.
Why am I listening to this 20-year-old or
30-year-old?
25-year-old? Yeah, like, so for them admitting that they were wrong or that they've been wrong about this thing for years, it kind of hurts. It kind of like hits their ego just a little bit. It's like, damn, like they're actually kind of right. I feel like I'm totally going to be that person.
What do you mean?
No, I'm going to be that 50-year-old or 40-year-old that it's like, if a young kid tells me something that I'm wrong about, I would be like, you know what, you're right about that. Like, it's okay to admit that you're wrong,
Yeah.
So I don't think I'll have that necessarily.
And also there was, on that same trip when I went to Romania, there was this kind of like, I don't know if I would call it altercation, but there was this, what I basically kept bumping into people that like were older than me who kept talking to me or telling me certain things as if I was still 15 or 12.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because I moved when I was 12.
What's an example that happened that you can remember? Like you're outside, you're at the house.
There's this one specific time I remember. Where it basically was like the last straw after I kept being talked to as if I was a kid in certain situations. And
that's been happening.
Yeah, it's like it happened for like the whole trip.
Yeah.
And the trip was kind of coming to an end. Or it was the last like week or something. Yeah. And basically, I think I burped like out loud. Mm-hmm. And I said like, oh, sorry or whatever. But it was like a good burp, it was like a rolling burp.
You have those. I know.
I have those. I was drinking soda or something. That always happens. And then one of the grown-ups said like, who taught you to do that? Or who taught you it's okay to do that? Or something like that. What? If my dad burped, you would not say that to him.
Except does he? In that way?
What, burp?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. I mean, maybe. I just think it's like the way that it's like I'm not a kid anymore. Okay, but that was also after hella shit had happened to where I was like, seriously? I'm not a child. Like, don't just it was this like, I think maybe you need a little bit more context, but
because I also don't love when people burp like
okay,
that.
But if let's say you burped like that, I wouldn't be asking you who taught you to do that.
Oh no, who taught you?
Because it's it's the way that it was asked was so like, where did you learn to do that? As if I need to still learn some shit. Like I'm not 12, I'm not 15, where you ask me like, who taught you that it's okay to
like don't
do this?
Do that. Like, where did you learn that?
Exactly. Like if I swore and someone was like, where did you hear to say that?
Yeah.
It gave me that vibe. And it was on top of all these other little like,
what did you say?
Microaggressions, I would call them, or just like little thing that someone would say that I'm like, bro, I'm not young like that anymore.
What did you say, babe?
And I literally got frustrated. And I was like, why do you keep treating me like a child?
You said that?
Yeah. At the time, I don't know, I was like 21, 22. No, 21. Whatever. And I asked them, I was like, oh, wait, the laptop's going to die. One second. No, and I literally just asked, I was like, why do you keep talking to me like I'm a child?
Were a lot of people around?
Everybody was at the table, like the whole family, you know?
Damn.
And
what did they say?
And then I'm pretty sure like the person that initially said something replied back to me, and then it became like a whole thing where I was like, this whole trip, everybody's been talking to us, as in like the kids, and especially me, my sister, and my brother, because they hadn't seen us in a long time, so they weren't used to like the way we talk, the way we do things.
Did your sister and brother agree with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the time, I also gave other examples. I really can't remember them right now, but there was other examples of like maybe something my brother did, and then somebody said something about what he did. My sister, not so much, but actually no, my sister too, about some other shit. And I think at the time, it was a special occasion because like they hadn't seen us in 8 years, or specifically me and my brother in 8 years. You know, we have changed drastically. We are full grown adults. Like we're, you know, still figuring it out, but we're also not like 10 anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, why am I telling that story?
Just how older people always feel like you're like, just because you're younger, you're like still the kid.
Yeah. And how I also think it's okay to address certain things.
Yeah.
You know?
I need to do a better job at that. Just like addressing it doesn't really happen.
If like an adult is doing something that I feel like is out of pocket.
Yeah.
I feel like now I'm old enough where I can say something.
Yeah. But there's definitely an age when you're not old enough to say something.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, like once you're 18, 19.
Nah, 18, 19, I feel like you're still
learning.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think once you're like above 20.
Everybody grows up in different speeds.
And that is true too. But I don't know. I think like that was a specific situation, but I don't know. I just feel like I should be able to address something that bothered me that you said. Because as a kid, even if someone has said something that maybe hurt your feelings, or you think it was uncalled for, or it was rude, you weren't allowed to question that.
Oh yeah, you kind of just take it, and you might feel like fucked up on the inside, but you don't. You definitely don't tell.
You don't address it,
because then it's gonna be like, how dare you speak to me that way?
Exactly.
Like, how could you? You know how many times there were like, I don't even remember like what examples I can give, but I just remember as a kid there were so many times where I wanted to speak up and say something, but I knew that I couldn't because I was.
Say something about what?
Something about
how like someone,
like an older person says something that was fucked up.
That was like rude to you, or
rude to me, or maybe just talk to me in a certain way that I didn't like, and I was just like, you don't have to like, you know, talk to me that way. And I'm not talking about like I'm 6 or 7 or 8. I was like, you know,
when you're that age, you don't even have the like emotional bandwidth to understand that.
Yeah,
you know.
But there's definitely an age that you get to, and it's like, okay, cool, now I can like speak up, you know. And I haven't been around like family also in a very long time.
That's
you know,
true.
Like,
it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how
summer.
Yeah, how it goes. But I mean, and I don't think people are gonna treat me like a kid either. You know.
That's true.
I think the difference will be how I react to things when people talk to me. Like,
well, just think how long it's been since somebody like has truly seen you in like real life.
Yeah,
you know. And I think that I don't know. I feel like it should be acceptable. Of course, be respectful. Don't be rude, etc. That goes for any interaction.
But why can't
really.
you be rude? If your
why
uncle,
are you being rude though?
If your uncle can be rude to you,
okay, but I also just don't want to be rude to someone.
Okay, but
I'm not.
You're not a rude person.
Yeah.
So if someone is being disrespectful or like being rude to you, like you're gonna check them, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say.
But you don't have to say it also just like always in a nice way, like, hey.
Okay, but that's
I
not
really
being
don't-
rude. That's just being assertive. There's a difference. When you're rude is like, there's a difference between being rude or standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
But it's funny because when you're a kid, they all go together.
Yeah, no, but when you stand up for yourself as a kid, you're being rude.
Exactly. But that doesn't go on anymore. That
It's
doesn't
like,
go.
bro, I'll just stand up for myself. Like, you're not going to talk to me this way, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was doing. And I remember it felt uncomfortable the way I was like talking to this person that is significantly older than me, has always been, you know? And I was really like standing up for myself. And I said, I was like, you have just been making all these comments. And
You know, I've never done that. I never checked.
that was the first time I've ever done that.
Yeah, good for you, you know?
And
I can't wait to do it.
And I felt that there was this point where like they kind of leveled the playing field, where like it wasn't like we were talking like this anymore. It was talking like this. They felt it.
Oh, yeah, but then once you do it once, they're never going to talk to you like that again.
Yeah.
Once you check someone one time, they're going to be like, okay, cool.
And not to make it seem like I put them in their place. It wasn't like that. It was a true conversation where I was expressing my feelings, which is something that I feel like when you're a kid from a grown-up in your life, you're always told like, you can't stand up for yourself. You can't do this. You can't address that even if it bothered you. So I think that that's like a clear imbalance of power. But now that you're older, you at some point have to equalize that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's up to us to do that, to remind these people that were around when we were kids that like, I'm no longer a kid.
Yeah.
And if something bothers me or you say something that, you know, for example, another example is like, and this is more specific.
I feel like you have a lot to say about this topic than me. I'm just here like supporting.
Sorry. No, just like briefly, one thing is like Romanian people, they love talking about other people's weight. They love bringing up other people's weight, that they lost weight, that they gained weight.
Why?
It's just a thing. I don't know how to explain it. I would say it's cultural because it's all around all the time. So.
But you can't comment on someone else's weight.
No, I can.
Okay, go ahead.
It's except I can.
Like about someone that's older than you.
Yeah.
Like your uncle be like, damn, like why did you?
No, I wouldn't say that about my uncle.
Okay,
I would say that about my aunt, but that's because we have a different relationship.
That is weird though. I don't like commenting on weight ever.
I don't like it either. But I would say growing up,
what
that
do you want
was
me
like
to do?
An open thing of constant discussion. And I know like right now, the shape that I'm in, I'm like slightly more weight on than last time I went to Romania by maybe like 2 pounds or something. And you can like see it if I'm like in a bathing suit or whatever. And I just know
why did you
because I was doing the rolls. So then if I go home, I just know that there might be a comment made about like, ooh, something, you gained some weight or whatever. And I feel like at this time in my life, I need to, and I've never done this, I want to stand up for myself. And if someone makes a comment about my body in any type of way like that, I want to have the courage to say, like, can we not comment on my body? Can we not talk about like people's weights?
You should say, do I comment on your body?
Yeah, like I would never say.
Do you see your body?
I
and
would
also,
not,
that's body shaming too.
Exactly. And I would not bring it up except if maybe I bring it up. Like if I say like, yeah, you know, I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight or something. If I say that, they can then come in and say something about it. You know what I mean? Or similarly, if they say the same thing, I can also say, well, have you been like working out or whatever? We can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's a clear opening the door to that conversation.
And you brought it up. It's not someone looking at you while we at the beach and then be like, damn, Alia, have you been? That's like so fucked up. How is that even like I don't know. I guess it's just really like a cultural thing.
So that's a thing that I feel like I want to build the
courage for it.
The courage to just like if somebody mentions it, I'm just like, what do I say, you know?
You should say this, right?
What?
Do I comment on your body?
No, don't do that.
Why?
I mean, I feel like that doesn't land. I want it to land as like, it's about the fact that I'm just not comfortable talking about my body.
Okay, and why? But
I don't want to turn it onto them. I just want to say how I'm feeling.
But even if you are comfortable talking about your body, that doesn't give someone the pass to comment and say anything they want about your body.
I agree with that. I just feel like it's more effective instead of turning it onto them and being like, do I talk about your body as if I could? You know what I'm saying?
No, but you could. You just don't, because what's the point?
Yeah.
You see someone that gained a little weight. I'm never going to say that ever. Like, yo, you gained a little weight, or it's like, bro, what's the point? I'm still the same person.
Yeah.
And also, too, maybe that's what they wanted. Not everybody wants to be,
Yeah. Anyways.
If you're listening to this, and just please don't comment on other people's body.
Yeah, period.
Okay.
I feel like you can only talk about it if they truly just open that door.
No, I guess so.
And I also think, just to finish it all up, I think that we also have to remember that when somebody even maybe says, like an older person says, well, I have more life experience than you, or I have gone through this life longer than you have, so you'll see when you get older X, Y, and Z, right? I've heard that many times. Most
of the time, I feel like they're actually right, to be honest.
Except that their life experience, whatever they experienced in their 30s, that shit was also 20 years ago, right? Or however many years. So how does your experience of when you were 30 apply to my experience now when I'm about to be 30?
Yeah.
But they're completely different worlds.
Yeah, completely.
Like, the way that things are changing now, it's like every few years, shit is just hella different.
Yeah, so it doesn't even make sense to make the comparison.
It doesn't, right?
Yeah, like when I was your age, I used to do this. Someone said, when I was your age, I used to have to walk to school. And I was like, okay, yeah, that was in fucking 1968.
And also, why does that matter?
No, because they want to, I don't know.
They want to make it seem like your life now is so easy, right?
We have so much access now to things.
That's true.
There's Uber, there's the internet, there's
you don't
Google
need
Maps.
books anymore.
Someone was like, oh, what would you do without your phone, without the GPS? You know how I used to get home? I used to open the map or the paper map, or like read the signs. I was like, okay, cool.
Why are you mad though?
Glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, but like what is your argument exactly?
No, but it's because those type of people, they're always like, you don't know how to get home without your phone.
Okay, and?
That's it.
You don't know how to fucking use a phone, period.
You got to catch up with the times, y'all, okay?
I don't know. I think it's interesting because I often, especially like now where I'm at with, it's like just having more and more responsibilities. And I know eventually when we'll have a kid and we'll buy a house and all those things, like everything that happens and every decision I make always comes with certain comments like that from people that are older than me, trying to like put their knowledge and all that onto my decisions and what I'm doing, and always saying like, well, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I just think it's interesting because I'm like, you know how different the world is right now compared to when you were my age?
Yeah.
And no like disrespect at all, but I just feel like it's not equal.
Yeah.
The comparison, the way that they try to like put their insight onto what you're doing, especially when maybe if you're like in the same field, but even like jobs and the way that everything's done is so different.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that you can't take some of the knowledge that they provide, but I also think it's not as equal and even as we take it or are told to take it.
Yeah. A lot of the older people don't understand that there's so much opportunity online now to make money.
Right.
I feel like a lot of them still don't even understand that concept.
Oh, you should
like,
see me.
How is that even going to work?
Yo, you should see me trying to explain like the podcast or YouTube to my grandparents.
Yeah. And it's like they always think that you got to work somewhere where you got to just have like a traditional like job, Yeah. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but it's like you can do so much.
Yeah. And I just think, I don't know. At the end of the day, we're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's also okay to just check. Anytime I say check, it seems very aggressive. It's
so
right?
like, you sit there.
Check the older people in your life who always make you feel like you're lower than, or like younger, or like don't really know as much when you actually do, and you have like this awareness that the younger people have now. Older people don't have that shit.
Yeah.
Like even just be open-minded about certain people, like certain people's you know, what they choose sexually. Like a lot of people, they're like, yo, I don't even understand what is going on, you know? So I feel like everyone should have like an older friend, like an older friend. So you can kind of just like talk about the difference in your life, what's happening, and then in their life. That's why I love talking to older people.
Yeah.
Like someone that's like 70 or some shit like that. It's like, I want to talk to them.
Because they have a totally different perspective on what's happening today.
Yeah. But you know what I love the most? Someone that's older, but that's like with the new times. They're accepting the new shit, like the new phone stuff.
Oh, like they know the shit.
Yeah, they know the new stuff. They're like, yo, this is beautiful. The world is evolving. Stop trying to keep the younger generation to like these older habits.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel you.
Forcing them to go to school, and like, school is great, but there's also, now with the new times, there's many things you can do.
Yeah.
Back then, school, I feel like it was just the only way.
Yeah.
You know?
And books.
Yeah. So times changed, and
I just think we need to also just say this, not as a disclaimer, but like,
oh, this is a disclaimer for sure.
Even though I feel like if I'm talking to a 17-year-old as now a 24-year-old, I can feel a difference of like, there's certain things that when I was 17, like now I'm much more aware of. I have much more like understanding of myself, like a bunch of different things. So I would say I'm a little bit more wise and obviously more mature. And that is just like a fact.
Yeah.
And I don't want to generalize because again, not all 24-year-olds are the same. Not all 17-year-olds are the same. And the same goes for older people as well.
Yeah.
But I just think it's good to always remember that we still have things to learn no matter what age we are. And I just hope that when I get to my 50s and 60s and 70s that I can be as understanding and as open-minded as I wish that older people in my life were, so that when we would have like not emotional, but just like self-aware conversations, I won't be that like grumpy old person who is just set in their ways and not willing to listen to that younger person just because they're younger and what do they know. I just really hope I'm not going to be like that. But I think that's a conscious thing that you have to do the older you get.
Yeah.
You know?
But I feel like even now, someone in high school, there's things you can learn from anyone.
That's true.
Just because someone is like younger, I don't know. I feel like, you know how much we're going to learn about ourselves when we have our kid?
Yeah.
You're going to learn about how patient are you really?
Yeah.
Because with life now, you can be patient, but then when you have a kid, it takes a whole different type of patience.
Oh my God.
We're going to be tested.
I'm fucking scared, y'all.
I know you're scared.
I am not patient.
For some reason, I'm not scared for that phase.
It's just gonna be different though, because they're your kid. It's not like it's different.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, I'm hot as hell and I'm hungry. So we're gonna close it out here.
Close it out.
Sending all the love to all the grown-ups.
All the grown-ups, we love you. We're all.
I'm just saying.
We're also grown-ups.
Yeah, no, I'm saying in general because I feel like I just seem like I talk shit about all the people. I don't mean any disrespect at all.
Yeah, we should call this podcast episode "No Disrespect."
Ooh, that would be. We're saving that title for something else.
For something else, right?
But thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We hope you're having a lovely day.
It's summertime. If you made it to the end of this podcast episode, wherever you are in the world, I want you to write in the comments. I feel like this one is kind of hard. I don't know.
Maybe just write like, what is a grown up to you? What makes someone a grown up?
It's a long,
that's a long right?
question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just do something very off topic. Comment your favorite day of the week.
No, it needs to be something about the topic. You know,
okay.
Let's do this, right? If you made it to the end of the episode, tell us if you agree with what we said.
Okay.
Or disagree.
I feel like people do that already, but cool.
Yeah, just let us know how you feel about the podcast episode.
Yeah,
honestly,
thanks, guys.
Keep it simple. Shout out to your dog. Obviously, I hope everyone is enjoying the merch.
Oh, yep. Wait, no. When this drops, the merch is not out yet, babe. It's about to be out in a few
yes.
days.
The merch is on the way.
Yep.
We have something very, very special right before our trip. We wanted to make sure that we put it out.
We want everybody to have a summer what's the juice
Yes.
something.
And it's going to be very special. And I feel like everyone's going to be very, very excited.
Yes. But we do want to let you know that because we're going on a trip, we have very limited amount of time for us to ship everything. And once we leave, we can't ship anything else.
Yeah.
So there will only be about a week
7 days, yeah.
in which you can purchase the merch. So if you want it, I highly recommend that you buy it when you want it, because it will not be available
When you
after
want
that.
it, or you mean you get it as soon as you can. Because,
I explained that so wrong.
yeah, because if you wait a little bit, we don't know, but we also
first of
don't
all,
have.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm saying we also just don't have a lot of it because we
That's
knew
what I was
that the window of purchasing would be very small. So
Yeah.
set your timer, set your alarm clock,
Yes.
check the Instagram at What's the Juice Pod. It will keep everyone updated.
Yes, and the merch will be available at what'sthejuice.shop like the last time.
Link is in the bio.
And we're super excited, and we hope that you guys also like them just
Yeah.
as much as we do. We fucking love this shit. I can't wait to wear it.
I cannot wait to. I'm gonna wear this shit every day. Take
Yeah.
photos, tag us, just like we did with the tote bags.
Yep.
And we will bring the tote bags sometimes after the trip. Whenever you come back, we'll do a different colorway.
Yeah.
We're doing something different.
And also, just in general, our merch, when we kind of want to make it sort of like this limited edition feeling. So we will probably not have the exact same like design and thing.
Yeah, we'll never
again.
repeat something twice.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like if you got it, you got it. If
Yeah.
not, you just have to get the next one.
exactly. But thanks so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day. We love you guys. We wouldn't be here without you, and we love being here every day, every week for you guys.
Every day, every week.
I need to go get food.
Yeah, and go outside, enjoy the sun, walk with your dog,
So
and just
hot.
have fun. Okay, we gotta go, guys. We love you.
We love you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye.